Hello, everyone. This is chapter one. Let's have an introduction to global marketing. Okay. We have all seen that the marketers, companies, global companies, multinational companies, marketing their products all over the world. Companies such as Coca-Cola, Walmart have a presence in virtually every country in the world. And how did they do their marketing? How did they do their marketing? And what is the scope, right, and complexity of global marketing? Let's look at that. Okay. The learning objectives of this chapter is we want to describe the development of global marketing, explain the importance of global marketing and the need for a global mindset. A global mindset is the key. Okay? Talking about global marketing, first thing we need to look at the global business, right? Imports and exports, right? But even the high international trade statistics, import and exports, underestimate the international marketing operations. Now, why is that? Why is it the trade number, import and export, underestimates international marketing operations? Because locally manufactured and locally sold products produced by foreign investors are not included in world trade figures. It's not in the world trade figures. Sales of overseas subsidiaries for U.S. companies are estimated to be 3 times the value of these companies' exports. In other words, so you have a European company manufacturing in this country, in the U.S., and that does not count into the import-export. If we have a U.S. company that does global marketing in European countries, their sales overseas are not included in the trade between U.S. and Europe. So that's why the trade number is the underestimate of the total global business. Okay? And if we look at the importance of global marketing, we can see that for many companies, they heavily rely on global marketing, like a Boeing, right? Boeing, the aircraft company, right? They sell to virtually all major countries, in the world, right? They're selling everywhere, and a big part of their business, more than U.S. market, is actually from global market. Okay? Ford Motor Companies, they operate in many countries. Walmart has operations all over the world. Right? And well-known brand name Nestle is actually from Switzerland. Right? You may not have heard about a company called Tata Consultancy. It's actually from India, but it has operations, Tata, different subsidiaries operating in many countries. Organizations such as the Vienna Orchestra, you may not realize that they need to do global marketing as well because they have tours, all around the world, every year, having and their orchestra symphonies, orchestra presentation in many countries. Online companies like eBay, by its nature, from the very start, from the get-go, they are global. Okay? Let's look at a company called IKEA that many of you are very familiar with. And IKEA was founded by this guy, Ingvar Kamprad. When he was 17 in 1943, he started this company. Right? Initially, he was selling fish, seeds, magazines on a bicycle. Now now look at how big, a global presence this company is, right? Has. And has the furniture is mostly Scandinavian style home furnishing, right? Home furnishing, and how housewares, etc., related to home furnishings. Okay? Now they are in 25 countries. They have 267 stores worldwide. The customer visits is 590 million people visits per year. Okay? And their suppliers can come from 50 countries. There are 1,400 of them from 50 countries. The 2020 sales was 45 billion US dollars, or 39.6 euros, and 2022 sales was 40 billion euros. You can see about the same as 2 years ago. It's probably because of the pandemic and others. Okay? They employ worldwide 150,000 people. Okay? They have their business, they have their vision, they have their business idea. They're at the IKEA's vision is to create a better everyday life for as many people as possible. The business idea supports this vision by offering a wide range of well-designed, functional home furnishing products at prices so low that as many people as possible will be able to afford them. Okay? You can see their target market, worldwide target market. Okay? Why do companies seek global markets? Why do you want to go global? Right? First reason, oftentimes the first opportunity comes when they get inquiries from abroad. If it is, for example, if this company is a U.S. company having a great product, selling very well in this country, chances are, international travelers, business people, they'll come, they ask you, hey, I want to sell your product in another country. Can we work on that? Okay, so increase from abroad. Okay, the second reason is seek more sales and profits. If they don't have, they want to grow their business, they want to sell more, not just the U.S. market, they want to sell overseas. Okay, so they want to go global. Okay, more sales and more profits. The third reason could be little or no growth at home. For companies like dairy products, for example, or cheese, like corns or wheat, things like that in this country. It's in this country it's saturated, right? Highly saturated. There's not much room for growth, right? Now there is opportunity elsewhere in South America, in Europe, and Asia, so they want to go global. Sometimes they want to go global because they have to respond to a domestic competitive shock. Their competitor went. Their competitor went, they better go. Okay? Or they may follow their major customers abroad. Some companies like a consulting company, accounting agency, their clients, for example, a manufacturing company is going global. And they also need the accounting, consulting, or financial services. And so some companies may follow their major customers to go abroad. Okay? And also companies may want to leverage their economies of scale and scope. With economy of scale, the more you produce, the cheaper it gets. Right? What's economy of scope? Right? If you're good at making one thing, you're probably good at making something similar. Like Honda, for example. We know Honda started with a Japanese company, started out with making motorcycles, right? And then they segued into making lawnmowers, right? Cars and others. Now I think they even making Honda jets because of the manufacturing capability in engine production. That's the economy of scope. Okay? These are the reasons companies go global. Okay? You probably heard of a company called Red Bull, right? You probably drink out Red Bull, right? When you feel that you need some energy, right? And Dietrich Mateschitz is an Austrian guy. He on his trip to Thailand, he found a Thai energy drink called the creatine Dynam, right? Which reduced his jet lag. Then he got this idea, he adapted for the European consumer, not as a sweet, not as a sweet in carbonated form, right, for the European market. Right? They found this, in 1987. He launched his company in Austria, his home country of Austria, and then in 1992 to Hungary, and 97 to the United States. Now they're sponsoring soccer games, football games, Formula One car racing, extreme skiing, all those extremity activity adventures, etc. What we have seen. Right? Their 2022 sales is 10 billion US dollars. Not too bad, just for a drink. Right? Can look at the website if you need more. Okay. This is how global marketing evolve with companies. For example, if your company doing your business starting in the United States, and you're making something selling domestically in the state of South Carolina, for example, maybe in Georgia, and then into North Carolina, Virginia, East Coast, Midwest, and West Coast, right? And we call that domestic marketing, marketing domestically, the domestic U.S. market. Okay? And then you may find that the buyers in Canada, in Mexico, or in Europe also want your product. Right? They also want your product. Right? You start to export. Okay? Then you enter the stage of export marketing. Right? And then next you may find that you need to have production facility, a distribution facility in another country. Then you're engaging in international marketing. You have your not just exporting and just sell the products overseas. You actually make products overseas, right? Then you're engaging in international marketing, right? And then you may find that in several countries, in Asia or in Europe or in Latin America, you're all making the same thing or making your product. That's when you engage in multi-domestic marketing. Okay? And then you may find that, gee, you have presence in so many South American countries. You may want to have a South American regional headquarters. You start to engage in pan-regional marketing. Okay? Then you do that in the regional marketing, pan-regional marketing in Asia, in Europe, in South America, in Africa, and then finally you start to do global marketing. So you have global presence everywhere in all the continents. Okay, you can see in this picture that this is a single country domestic marketing, to dual country, that's export marketing, right? To multi-country marketing, that you basically just selling, reaching out to different countries, and then global marketing, that all your country country operations interact with each other, with headquarters, so you're having a global network, excuse me, to market the product. Okay? So global marketing, yeah, global marketing strategy. You need to have global marketing strategy. A global marketing strategy involves the creation of a single strategy for product, a service, or company for the entire global market. So that's your global marketing strategy. Okay? It's a basic strategy that you follow. It has the flexibility to adapt to local market conditions where necessary. Wherever it's necessary, you have a basic strategy, global strategy, and also you have adaptation to local markets. Okay? We can talk about this later on as we go. In international marketing, there is challenge. The challenge is first one is standardization versus adaptation. Do you have a standardized product that's same everywhere you go, or you have a adapted product adapt to different country conditions wherever you go? Okay, you think about that. Okay. There are some factors affecting standardization versus adaptation. If you have a standardization strategy, you have a similar taste in diverse countries, right? You have a strong country of origin image. Everywhere you go, you have the same thing. Also, you have the scale. You have a scale economies in production, R&D, and marketing, and then you avoid the high cost of adaptation. Yeah. And if you use an adaptation strategy, it could be because of variations in consumer needs and conditions of use in different countries vary. That's why you have adapt to that, okay? And or because of variations in consumer income, ability to buy, and then you have to adapt, right? Or if there's a strong cultural difference affecting product and use, produce, product and usage, or difference in technical standards. You have different technical standards, you have to adapt, right? Or differences in government regulations affecting the product, then you have to adapt. Okay? So basically, for this is your company in the middle, right? There are national, political, economic, cultural, and legal environment that you have to take into considerations. There's also supranational, political, economic, cultural, and legal environment that you have to take into considerations, right? Because that pressure, you may have to adapt to local conditions. Okay? Here's some examples of Coca-Cola's. Coca-Cola's adaptation, right? Standardization was adaptation. Coca-Cola has a standardized product, the original Coke everywhere the same, right? But they have to adapt. They have different names in different countries. This is a Coca-Cola in Arabic. It's from read from right to left, right? It's different countries. This one is Japanese. This one is Korean. This one is Chinese. This is a great translation. This is one considered one of the best translations. In Chinese, name for Coca-Cola is 可口可乐. 可口可乐 sounds very similar to Coca-Cola. It actually means delicious and happiness. You see how wonderful that is, right? Coke make you feel wonderful, happy, and it tastes delicious. MTV around the world. You look at companies of MTV, and MTV probably you watch that a lot, right? They have adaptations that have different national, regional, and global products offerings, country conditions. They have that MTV in Italy, in India, in Asia, in Latin America. Okay. There's another company called Metro. Probably you may not. I don't think we have that here in South Carolina. But when I was on the faculty of Drexel University in Philadelphia, we had this newspaper. This is a Swedish newspaper called Metro, right? It founded in 1995. First issue was Metro Stockholm, right? The format is a free newspaper targeted towards commuters in large cities. Advertising provided their revenue, right? The distribution point for the paper near subways, buses, trains, high traffic areas, right? In 2009, they had 56 editions in 18 countries, and 15 languages, 70 million daily readers, etc. Right? Yeah. Now they're around the world in different countries, in Mexico, Sweden, Chile, Denmark, France, and the US. Right? Avon is another product. Avon has a total revenue of about $10 billion, okay? And mostly cosmetic products. Okay? They have a presence in over 100 countries. 55%, more than half of its sales, is outside of the United States. Okay? They use door-to-door selling of skincare, makeup, accessories, etc. Okay? They employ 5.4 million independent sales representatives. Sales. Okay? The total revenue of 2020 was 3.63 billion US dollars. But last year it was 2.77 billion. The increase is moderate. It's actually there's a decrease there. Decrease there, probably due to the COVID factors and the recessions. A1 products are now 40% products adapted for local markets. That's 1,200 SKUs. SKU stands for stock keeping units. So they have 1,200 stock keeping units. Right? The pricing wise, they use a layaway, right? Just like a Walmart layaway. They use a barter, the other ways. Right? Place adaptation to go door to door. Right? Promotions, they go with direct sales pitches, print materials, etc., to sell the product. Okay? So after all, you need to have a global mindset. You need to have a global mindset to engage in global business, right? Knowledge of other countries, economies, and cultures, understanding of how the global economy works. We'll talk about it in the later chapters. Ability to recognize and use ideas from different markets. And most importantly, you want to have a perception of how to integrate actions taken in one national market with actions in other markets to be truly global. Okay. In the next few, the rest of the semester, we're going to talk about in chapter 2 to 3. We're going to talk about the environmental competence, right, and understanding the global market environment. Okay. Then chapter 5 to 6, we're going to analyze global opportunities. That's called the analytic competence. Then chapter 8 and 9, we're going to develop global participating strategies. That's a strategic competence. Then chapters 10 through 15, we'll talk about designing your global marketing programs. That's your functional competence. And finally, in chapter 16, we're going to talk about managing the global marketing effort. That's your managerial competence. We can develop your competence in environmental analysis, analytical competence, strategic competence, functional competence, and finally, managerial competence to put everything together. Okay? So that's today's lecture on the introduction of the topic, and we can start with understanding the global marketing environment in chapter 2 next time. Thank you and goodbye.